Greetings, I'm Dave Householder, and I am blessed to be your Bible teacher, bringing encouragement from the Bible during these discouraging times. And the Bible's really good at encouragement during a time of discouragement because pretty much every book of the Bible was written in response to a discouragement. People didn't just sit down and think, oh, I think I'm going to write a book of the Bible today. They didn't do that. They were responding to something, usually a challenge, with faith. And that's why the Bible is just loaded with encouragement, encouragement which has stood the test of time for many, many years. And we're so blessed to have this distillation of centuries of encouragement handed down to us, and people risk their lives to get it to us from generation to generation. Today we're looking at 1 Timothy chapter 3, and we're looking at your next step in your Christian walk. If you haven't made it already, and some of you have taken that step, and the step is one into one of two things, leadership or service. Now, 1 Timothy 3 talks about two roles. It talks about overseers, and it talks about, on the other hand, deacons. Now, overseers, deacons, overseers, deacons. Let's look at that for a second. Overseers gets translated sometimes as elders, sometimes as bishops. The Greek word that Paul used is episkopoi, from which we get Episcopalian, and bishop. And those are people, episkopoi, episkopoi, scoping, like periscope, epi, upon something. Somebody looks at things and oversees things and checks things, a supervisor, basically. Super Latin, on top of looking down, looking at what's going on. Not the person necessarily who does the work, but the person who manages it and leads it. And then a deacon, diakonos, is someone who serves and someone who gets things done and finishes things and takes responsibility for things. So these are the two sort of forming roles in the early church in the New Testament. They didn't have any totally formal roles. They didn't have offices and titles and all that kind of stuff, except for maybe apostle. But what they did is they had these sort of functional roles. You're either managing something or you're getting the work done. And unfortunately, in America, a lot of Christians are in what I would call spectator mentality. And what I mean by that is they treat the church like entertainment, and they see themselves as consumers of spiritual goods. And this is pretty much confined to the United States. I'm not sure why that is, but in most of the world, Christians don't see church going that way. But people talk about church shopping, and they go to another church if they're not being fed. And there's this sort of consumer mentality, which isn't really healthy. You don't see that anywhere in the New Testament. People don't go looking for a church to meet their needs. They go to a church to eventually move into one or two things, and that's management, bishops, elders, or deacons, and those are the people who serve and manage and get stuff done. So workers and planners, deciders, kind of like officers and enlisted people in the military. And the church has basically two roles. You're either working and serving, or you're managing and visioning and making decisions and in management, one of those two things. It doesn't have a role for spectator. So my challenge to you is, if you're not already in either management or in service, which one do you feel called to move into? And the truth is, your church, whether it's the Well or any other church, will immediately say yes, no matter which one you go into. There's always room for people who show up and get things done in those two roles. In fact, throughout history, for hundreds and hundreds of years, the two fastest paths to upward mobility socially are through the church and through the military. And what you have to do is just volunteer for things more than you're asked to do and take responsibility. Now, I often talk about the responsibility and authority balance, and every HR problem in the world goes back to the HR and authority balance problem. If you have too much authority and you're not taking enough responsibility, then you're just bossy and you're getting nothing done. If you have too much responsibility and not enough authority, you've been told to get things done, you're responsible for getting it done, but you can't make any decisions about it. Both of those are impossible situations, and they're impossible to maintain, and they're unsustainable, and they cause friction. And virtually every HR problem in every corporation, every organization, is caused by an imbalance of authority and responsibility. Well, the key with the military and with the church is you can take responsibilities right now and you will be given authority. It just happens right away. And because volunteers, both in the military and in the church, are valued in a huge way. So you step forward and tell your pastor, your leader, perhaps if you go to the well, it's me, and you say, I want to be a deacon, or I want to be an overseer, I want to be in management, or I want to be in labor, I want to work, or I want to help run things, take responsibility one way or another. And the answer will be yes. Trust me, the leadership of the church will find a place for you, and it will lead to upward mobility. And by taking responsibility, you'll be given authority. Take more responsibility, given more authority. And there is no limit to how far you can go with that. Really, you can volunteer your way to the very top of Christian leadership in just a matter of years. Now, here at the Well, we've got a whole bunch of things we need doing here locally at our church, and also one way to move into these kinds of roles is to become what we call a well digger. Now, a well digger is a person who plants a church, and not a traditional church, by the way, a church built around your giftings in your area, perhaps gathered in your home and connected to us at the Well. And every Sunday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific time, we have a Zoom call with all the well diggers around North America. And these people are planting churches. They're in management, but they're also doing some service type stuff, and they're creating a team of people to do both of these. And if you'd like to be a well digger, let me know. Plant a church. Perhaps you've always been called into church leadership, but you never wanted to be in a traditional church, perhaps a non-traditional church. And we're seeing a lot of non-traditional small churches pop up, micro churches, all over the world right now. And perhaps you're being called to lead in one or to serve in one. So let me know about that. We'd love to plant churches all over the world. And we call that digging a well, because we're the well at Surf City. Perhaps you want to be the well at Lincoln, Nebraska, or the well at Columbus, Ohio, or the well at Saskatoon, or the well at Rotterdam, or New Delhi, or whatever, Nairobi. Let us know if you'd like to plant a well. So that's what Paul is talking about here in 1 Timothy 3. He's talking about how we look for and how we develop both overseers, management, and deacons, people who serve, people who take care of things. My question to you is, which one is the Lord moving you into if you're not already there? Take care and have a great day, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.